Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexiot's here Saturday morning, and the Raptors beat the Nets in their last preseason game last night in an impressive victory at Scotiabank Arena. And I'll bet Raptors fans are feeling a lot better about a lot of things this morning compared to other days this past week. And well, told you so. Is a little bit what I'm saying to people when it comes to Scotty Barnes right now. Just told you so. You're going to overreact to some bullshit this preseason, and then you'll see the truth. And well, you saw it last night. And shame on every single Raptor fan or person around the Raptors that was saying we need to trade Scotty Barnes. You're idiots. Idiots. Oh my gosh. And last night definitely showed it. So yeah, we're doing a reaction stream today, reacting to the Raptors defeating the Nets last night in a game that was a lot closer than I thought it would be. In some ways, I wanted it to be a rout, but the Raptors let them back in. And we'll talk about that too. But yeah, the phone line is open. If you have the phone number to the show, if you have the Raptor Freak hotline, you have access to call me during the stream today and talk about whatever you want to talk about as far as what you saw in the game, reacting to the victory, the last preseason game for the Toronto Raptors this season against the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, it's fun stuff. We saw the starters together again, and it looked way smoother and spaced out better than the last game. And you saw the potential of what's possible with the Raptors, because this is the thing that in this game last night that mattered the most was talent. And, the Nets are young and green. And honestly, even if they have unleashed, even if they have dormant talent that could be derived later from these players, doesn't mean it all clicks on the same timeline at the right time and everything like that. So, yeah, there's a real talent difference between the Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets. And it's very evident. You can just see it. The starting five of the Raptors is very overpowering. And there's more talent at each of the five positions for the Raptors than the starters for the Nets. And then, we can go deeper into the bench and really kind of analyze the six-man, the backup point guard, the big, this, all that. And we probably beat them talent-wise all the way down the roster. So, yeah, we don't need to mess around. And like Jack and Matt said on the broadcast last night, we need to beat our Atlantic Division foes, because that is a sign of a good team. And the Raptors' success in the past, they were always Atlantic Division champions and running roughshod all over the Celtics, the Sixers, the Nets, and the Knicks. And we can recapture that to a degree this year. I really do believe that. I think that the Nets are obviously going to be at the bottom of the Atlantic Division. And then the other teams, well, the Knicks are the strongest, but they could be all kinds of ways things go south for them this year too. So yeah, the Raptors could jump on top of the Atlantic Division again this year and surprise everybody. Nobody would expect that because they want to kiss Philadelphia, New York, and Boston's ass. But there's flaws and problems with all three of those teams. And we're going to see them as the season goes on. And all the problems they thought the Raptors had, and they told in the press that we have, even ESPN has a dumbass BPI rankings or some show. And the whole excerpt with the Raptors is actually saying they're going to be higher, but they rank them lower. And then they just put them down completely in the text. So it doesn't matter what y'all perceive. It doesn't matter what you want to write on your web pages, ESPN. The reality will come out. And the Raptors fans can see the promise of what's coming with our new team this year. It's going to be fantastic. All right, we're going to do stars of the game, Instagram stories, all the fun stuff we do on this channel, the classic card. So call in. If you callers have the phone number, I would love for you to call in and I'd hear some other opinions and reactions to the preseason ending last night. And, we can talk about the cuts on Thursday. We can talk about anything that's news oriented around the Raptors, maybe a little bit of Blue Jays. We can talk that too, if you guys are interested. All right, let's see what's going on. Trevor Jay's in first, of course, our commissioner, Trevor Jay, commissioner of fun on this channel. This man commissions fun by all kinds of different ways. He's been helping this channel for a few years now, and I appreciate Trevor Jones very much. I just want to say thank you, Trevor, once again. Just a thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you do, man. Results happen over time, not overnight. Stay consistent and be patient. 1% better every day. Small changes over time lead to better changes. If I'm going to be egotistical and think about it in my regards to doing this show every day, if you watch my first stream that I did 4 years ago, it was very different than the one I'm doing today, right now. And that's a testament to what we're talking about here. And I love that the Raptors employ this strategy and how they run their business day to day. That it's win the day, get 1% better today, and it all stack up and add up. And then boom, all of a sudden, over time, you're there. And I really do employ that in philosophy here on this channel. I do strive to see little ways I could possibly make this channel just a little bit better all the time. I'm not trying to do all this stuff that they think I should do, like overly monetize it and overly graphic it, all this stuff. No, those aren't my goals. My goals are to make this fun. My goals are to enhance the experience for the goals that we have. And, every day I try to get better. And that's the thing. If I'm going to do this every day for 4 years straight, I better get better. What the hell am I doing then? so yeah, if there's a little bit more better parody songs sung by me, there's a little bit more better insight, and I'm a little bit more accurate than, hey, I'm getting 1% better every day. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. It's important. If you want to get better, you have to put in the time and the work. Trust me. If you want to get better, that's right. Every day. Every day. That's right. Trevor J saying it was Scotty time last night. Big game for him. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder how some of these people feel now. Overreacting. You need to just shut up and watch the games, because if you were talking out of pocket in the last week about Scotty Barnes, you should have your card revoked for having an opinion talking about the Raptors and saying all the stupid shit you've been saying this past week. Seriously. In some ways, you need to get in the back of the line if you were one of these people, because your opinions don't matter as much as other people, because obviously you're not as well informed and you are overshooting your mouth when you shouldn't be. So maybe you should be patient, quiet, and shut up and let the experts talk about it. And you can come around and talk about Raptors when you've learned a little bit more. People that were coming at Scott in the last 10 days. Yeah. Yeah. How's that? There you go. I knew he was going to do this. I thought he might have done it earlier in the preseason, but nah, in some ways he's going to, it's preseason. Why is he going to go all out all 6 games like that, y'all? Come on, let's think about this. There's all kinds of reasons why this didn't happen until now last night, but it did happen last night. And in some ways, it made y'all feel a lot better about things, didn't it? Oh, yeah, it did. Because you're like, oh, shit, wait, Scott is like, and it's exactly what Jack Armstrong said. The man was going east to west for most of the preseason, and now he went north-south. And he did. He went north-south, and that's what I'm saying. And, that was kind of what Kareem Thomas was asking for. He said, I want him to get more towards the basket and get aggressive. Kayla Gray talking to Darko, and Darko said, we were not happy with how many shots at the rim Scotty was getting in preseason. So they changed it, and they got more for him. And we saw the benefits and the amazing stuff. The synergy between the starters is top-notch. Seriously, we saw Scotty and Ingram pair up this time, and we did see some synergy between them, and it looked fine. As always, the synergy between Barrett and Barnes is sublime. It's sublime. These guys can thread needles between each other to get the pass to each other, and they have a really nice timing off each other also. Stuff where, like, RJ can get the ball in the right place from Scott in stride and then just throw it down like it's nothing. And vice versa. It goes the other way too. We saw RJ throw the ball, advance the ball up really far up the court to a pinpoint accuracy to Scotty Barnes, and he gets a dunk. So, the things are fitting. And once they got the spacing figured out, you can understand how this lineup's going to work. It's going to be very interesting. And in some ways, the great thing is we're not going to have to rely on Scott to shoot threes, guys. We're not going to have to rely on Scott to shoot threes. And that's a good thing, because in some ways, Scotty, he hurt his hand again last night. I don't know if you saw that. He was holding his hand already. If he's going to have injuries with his hand that happen kind of every once in a while, his shooting may fluctuate as far as his long distance shooting. That's why I say, in some ways, guys, we cannot put an importance on the 3-point shot for Scott, because when he shoots threes, it takes him out of where he's supposed to be. And I know y'all have been saying this. I know other people around Raptors Nation have been saying this, and it's true. He's a low post player. who needs to operate around the lane and get those little baby hooks, those turnarounds. That give and go that he did with RJ was so beautiful in the second half. There's just so much to be mined from Scott. Now he'll have to shoot threes at times because he's left open, because they don't respect him and stuff like that, and that's fine. And he should take the open threes because it's there. But if he's not habitating around out there for the most part on offense, like there was one play I really like where they were setting things up this way. Scotty had the ball at the top of the key, and he was outside. He'd hold it at top, and he's using his vision, kind of watching how they're going around in motion. And then he gives it up, the IQ or RJ, and he runs a little screen, and then he does like a cutting motion through the middle of the lane. That was a really good play action. In fact, I want to see this more, Darko, if we can, because there's a wealth of possibility and all kinds of improvisation and getting offensive opportunities in easy ways. If you put Scott up top with his vision, he can initiate the offense up there in a very good way. If he sees something immediately, like a backdoor cut, a Grady or RJ or Ingram, when he passes the ball off the other guy, he becomes his own target, and it is able to initiate some paint touch with him getting the ball in the paint. And often he may have a mismatch of size on a smaller defender where he can eat them for lunch. And if he doesn't, and he's in a certain position and it collapses on him and he can't do anything, he's passing it right back out. And the thing is, I've never seen RJ Barrett have such open three-point shots in his whole entire career until last night. You see RJ, nobody's near him. He has all day to just get his shot set and just whoosh, right through the basket. That's a beautiful thing right there. RJ's three-point shooting is going to be better this year because he's not going to have people running at him like crazy, slapping him at the arm, because there's going to be doubles, and he's going to get so much daylight to take those threes. And I love that when he gets open threes, he nails them. RJ Barrett nails them for Raptors and for Team Canada like that. So I like it. Yeah, Scotty obviously is the number one star of the game last night. There's no denying Scotty Barnes was the best player on the court last night for either team. Fuck you, Michael Porter Jr. and your empty-ass stat line. Somebody's got to score for the Nets, and it don't mean shit. It's going to be good for the fantasy team that's got Michael Porter Jr., but that man is a loser. And you know what? Some of the ways he was operating last night, there's no way he's going to be able to do that in regular season games against very good teams, even our team. In the regular season, we were lackadaisical in the second half, and we let the Nets get back in with three-point shooting, but that's not going to be normal. And Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a long season for you and your team. Your stats may look like career stats, and they will be. You're going to have a career high in scoring and everything, but your team's going to be garbage, and they're going to be empty stats because you're a losing team. Scotty Barnes, amazing game last night. Bounce back game. So efficient, so volume with efficiency, and also the defense too. I'll talk about his stat line, but let's talk about intangibles first. Scotty Barnes was able to meld being an offensive juggernaut, getting 30 points, and still play that Tim Duncan, Ben Wallace kind of defense. We saw Scotty tipping the ball like Dennis Rodman at times. When the rebound wasn't exactly to him, he was directing the rebound. If he couldn't get it, he was tipping it towards a teammate, just like Jakob does all the time. That's fantastic. We saw first, second, and third effort to get after loose balls by Scotty that was very, very powerful and very, very good. At the end of the game, when the Nets were going to try and get back at us when it was close, we had to play some defense. Who ran down there and got and secured the final rebound to stop the Nets? It was Scott. Scott ran down there, muscled the rebound down, held it down, and threw his elbows around, and that was the game. That's the little shit. Y'all can look at the stat line, but that man was able to do the stat line along with all the important stuff that we're talking about as far as team defense, active, getting after it, deflections, tipping balls on rebounds to teammates, all the other stuff that you may not see on the stat sheet. He was doing along with the stat sheet. So give him some credit, man. Scotty works best when he's in transition. Scotty works best when he's in the low post. Scotty works best when his teammates and him are spacing the floor right. And we saw that last night. Scotty, 35 minutes. That's the starters' minutes. All the shit so far in preseason, these guys were playing half their time. Scotty played 20 minutes here. 15 minutes here. And people are judging him on his stats for half his time. Like, what the fuck is that? Why are you judging him for half his time? Remember, he's going to play 30 plus minutes most games, and he did last night. And that's what you get. 35 minutes, 31 points. That's fantastic. And I love that Scotty went and got 30, and he didn't really labor for it, did he? No, sometimes it seems like it's hard for Scott to get to 30. But it didn't seem like it was that hard for him to get to 30 last night. And I'm hoping this year it won't seem weird when he gets to 40 finally. Seriously, 10 of 15 shooting. Now, he was better inside. He did not shoot well outside, but he was way better inside. And that's a testament. Little finger rolls, little hook shots, little turnarounds, all that stuff is high percentage. And with Scott, it's very high level. And you see the English. You see that he's actually going for the higher percentage shots when he has the ability. You know, there's a lot of hesitation moves to shake the defender when he's coming at the basket. We saw him doing a little bit up and on, you know, that kind of stuff. Very, very smart. Very good low post kind of shit. Just really awesome. 10 of 15. 0 for 2 at 3. 11 of 12 at the free throw line. This is the other thing. The Raptors may have a new trend if the referees are going to be nice of getting to the line way more than they have in the last couple of years because they're aggressive and they're high-level offensive players. Brandon Ingram's going to get the line. Yeah. In some ways, Brandon Ingram may be the portal for the rest of the Raptors to get more respect to get to the charity line, guys. Because Brandon, in some ways, is going to get fouled. And you know what? It won't hurt that NBA officials start getting in the habit of calling fouls for the Raptors and putting them on the line. Because we saw that in the first half yesterday. The activity and the supreme talent of our team, we got way more free throw attempts than the Nets. Because we were aggressive, we were coming at them, and we were getting fouled. And Ed Malloy and the Johns actually called it. Ed Malloy, people were wondering, why is Ed Malloy on our side last night? Because he was calling shit for us left and right, and I was all about it. I have to remind people it's preseason. And he's going to do this to, because it doesn't matter in some ways. I still say Ed Malloy has been for the NBA to influence our standing in the Atlantic Division because he ends up, like I said yesterday, he ends up refereeing our games with Atlantic Division opponents very often. NBA, prove me wrong. I don't want to see Ed Malloy referee a single Knicks, Nets, Celtics, or Sixers game this entire season. If he does referee mainly Atlantic Division opponents, then I'm going to have a conspiracy theory about that. And it has to do with the Raptors' dominance of the Atlantic Division in the 2010s and how that was part of the buildup to the championship in 2019. If the NBA is trying to stop the Raptors from getting to another championship, it would make sense to put blocks in the path that we did before and understand that dominance in the Atlantic Division is a sign that the Raptors are coming again for another Larry O'Brien. So Ed Malloy could very well be involved in Atlantic Division games because they're trying to hurt us. Our Atlantic Division record has been absolutely dreadful for the last few years. In fact, we were not winning against the Nets. That's how bad it was, and getting swept by the other teams. Well, we got to flip that this year. In some ways, the biggest opponent will be the Knicks. And, well, we'll see how that record goes with the New York Knicks this year. And I fully do want to sweep from the other three teams. I really do. I don't give a shit who's healthy or not for the Sixers. I want to beat Nick. I don't give a shit what people think about the Celtics and their system and who they are. I want to beat the shit out of them all year too. And we should always beat the Nets. I'm sorry. That team is a team you shouldn't lose to. So, yeah, Scotty, 11 of 12 at the free throw line. Fantastic stuff. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers, plus 9. 31 points. Bask in the greatness of your franchise player, Raptors Nation. Bask in the greatness of him and understand he has people next to him that are going to help him immensely this year. So, yeah, Scotty is always and has been the best player on the Raptors. And don't you forget it, is what I'm going to say to y'all. That's what I'm going to say to y'all. My second star of the game is RJ. Star J. Barrett was completely solid last night. Now, I want to say something about RJ right now, guys. And this is something that people need to understand. He gets the assignment. He gets the assignment. RJ Barrett, I'm so glad you didn't come to our team as a rookie. I'm so glad that the timing of when you came to our team, when you got traded for OG Anunoby, was exactly when it was. Because I feel like you weren't ready to be completely on the Raptors then, before, in the early years of your career. This is the thing. I love that RJ's on our team, and I want RJ to stay on our team for a long, long time. And I think RJ wants to stay on our team for a long, long time too, because he's getting the assignment and he's excelling in A++ scores. What were the detractions of RJ Barrett all damn summer from idiots on social media talking out of their ass? Once again, the man's not efficient on offense and he can't play defense. What did he do? He came back with a vengeance and he's showing, oh, I'm not efficient. Motherfucker, watch as the whole entire preseason, this man shot an amazing percentage and was highly efficient and very much volume scoring. And then, wow, look at the new intensity on defense. I think RJ is doing the things to stay a Raptor, because honestly, nobody making no case about why RJ Barrett can't be a Raptor for years to come, because that man is taking care of the flaws that y'all called out, and he's doing them exactly right. So I'm going to say this right now. Let a hometown hero have his dreams. If he does the work, if he's excelling, if he ain't doing nothing wrong, you let him live his dream. You let him live his dream. And y'all need to stop talking your shit out of your ass, talking about RJ Barrett in negative ways around Raptors Nation. You are not speaking truth to the reality of what he is doing out there. You need to open your damn eyes and stop being haters, is what I'm going to say right now. RJ Barrett, extremely efficient, 9 of 17 from the field with 25 points in 35 minutes, 3 of 7 from 3. His threes have never been more wide open. Court 2. 4 of 7 at the free throw line. A little bit of a dip on his free throws again. He had perfect free throws up until this week, up until last night. That's the thing. That's another criticism. People talk to him, say, oh, RJ's free throws. Well, that's something he's actually worked on. And he's already better this year on his free throws. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, a +8, 25 points. Yeah, RJ's just awesome, man. Like, he's tough. And the way he's aggressive. And look at the way he strides and dunks it. Look at the way he catches it in stride and dunks it. Look at the way he fast breaks with his teammates Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel Quickly. Look at the way he finds his teammates. Look at his underrated passing skills and how he's threading the needle like Scott does. And look at that special connection he's building with the other starters, that they find him, he finds them, and they have a very good synergy. The Raptors starting lineup has advanced passing. We saw at one point Scotty was inbounding the ball, and he could have thrown it in closer, but Grady was upfield. And, you know, Grady is a great option in the last second to take a really quick three. It wasn't successful, but Scott's pass was impressive to get it all the way down the court exactly to Grady like that. And they were going for those long passes to Grady a couple times. One time Grady got fouled trying to catch that pass. So, yeah, RJ Barrett, second star of the game, obviously. The starters were really powerful last night. Brandon Ingram is my third star of the game. And really, it's because of the shot at the end. Why did we want Brandon Ingram? Well, he's going to add a dimension of very dependable scoring in times where there's pressure. And we saw that. The game was on the line. It was clutch time. We needed something. Well, Brandon went and got us a 3. That's what he was advertised for, coming here and doing that. And you can see how these pieces work together. Maybe RJ's carrying, scoring, and steady throughout the game. Scotty's doing glue guy stuff, all kinds of different things, scoring himself. And then you know what? It's Brandon time late. All of a sudden, let's give the ball to Kingram and let that man go to work and put the ball through the hoop. And it's fun, man. It's fun watching Brandon. It's weird because, like I said, these roles are going to flip on the teams from time to time. It could be that Brandon gets 30-plus points in the next game, and Scotty gets more of a stat stuffing game and not as many points. You know, RJ will get 30-point game, one game, and other guys will do a little bit less or something like that. That's just how it's going to be this year, guys, because Brandon only got 13 points last night. But that's nothing wrong with that. You know why? because he was contributing in so many other ways also. I mean, the man had 6 assists. 6 assists. He must have been doing something out there. He had 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and a block. So he's stat stuffing. And we saw an activity by Brandon Ingram on defense, especially when he's on a team with other guys that are committed to defense. Brandon Ingram's defense looks good, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. It didn't look as good at other stops where he's played, because in some ways, to have a high level of defense as a team, as a unit, everybody has to be bought in and doing their part. But if you're on a team like the Pelicans and you have a couple people that are dogging it or just not buying into it, it all falls apart like a house of cards. So Brandon standing next to people, and this is the same reason why RJ is a better defender on our team than the Knicks. They're all help each other be better defenders because they're all looking out for each other. And all of a sudden, Brandon Ingram looks like this amazing, lanky, long, shot blocking, stealing, kind of getting into it kind of guy. He was always just an offensive player to everybody in the NBA, but now he's playing defense, and it looks good. It looks real good, man. And I love the putback he had from the miss by Yak. He's there to clean it up and throw it back in there. He's there to hit a key 3 late in the game. He's there to get a block. He's there to hit the boards and get some boards for us too. So yeah, Brandon 5 of 9 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. That was the only 3 he hit, was that clutch 3 at the end. 2 of 2 at the free throw line. And plus 10 with 13 points. He was the highest plus minus on the court, and he only scored 13 points. So casuals, are you mad at Brandon Ingram because he only scored 13 points last night? Is it okay? Can he get a pass from you overly rabid checking out all the scores? Or are there going to be detractors coming at Brandon Ingram today, even though he hit a clutch shot and played exemplary defense and stat stuff in ways that he normally doesn't do as a player in his build in the past? I don't know, y'all. Y'all want to be critical. You want to try and criticize somebody. Go criticize Brandon for just getting 13. It sounds stupid as fuck is where I'd hear you if you said that. You sound stupid as fuck if you started saying shit like that. That's right. 4th star is another starter, of course. Emmanuel Quickley. It's amazing. You got RJ, Brandon, and Scotty as the big 3 for the Raptors, and they're going to do what they're going to do. But then you got the other 2 starters who really didn't have good shooting games for the most part are getting double-doubles. We got both double-doubles on the other guys. Emmanuel Quickley had a fantastic game last night, even though he didn't shoot as well at sometimes. He's volume, and in some ways his quality may be kind of It's a trade-off with Emmanuel. It's a trade-off. We're going to need him to hit those threes, obviously. We're going to need him to be aggressive and push the pace. And we're going to need him to take the shots. And the shots may not go out in all the time, like on a very high efficiency. But in some ways, the threats and the actions and the stirring of the pot that Emmanuel Quickley provides is essential for the Raptors' success. So we can get away with a 6 of 16 shooting night for Emmanuel Quickley. That's not a big deal, y'all. In some ways, it's just him stirring the pot, getting people involved, and keeping the defense on the other side on their toes. And I have no problem with that. It was crazy. There was one point in the game where Emmanuel got the ball back. He missed a shot, and they rebounded and gave it right back to him right away, and he took another shot. I was like, damn, this dude is just like at the fair game, just shooting baskets through the whole thing. It's like, feed him, feed him, feed him. But yeah, Emmanuel was 5 for 9 from 3. I mean, this is the crazy thing. He was 6 for 16, and he was 5 for 9 from 3. So what's the flip on that? All right, he's not making the shots near the basket or inside, but he's hitting his 3 from outside and shooting over 50% from 3. He may not shoot over 50% overall, but he's shooting 5 for 9 from 3. That's fantastic. And 5 3-pointers from one player is really good. We need that on our team. We need that kind of shit on our team. 1 for 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers, 18 points, a +9. Some casuals are online decrying that Emmanuel Quickley's not a true point guard. Get him off my team. You're an idiot. The way this team has been constructed by Masai and Bobby is that Emmanuel's supposed to be a combo guard who's very easily switched into the shooting guard role because, once again, we saw it in the first half, and we've been doing this since Emmanuel came to our team with Scotty, is that Scotty switches to the point guard sometimes, and then Emmanuel's off guard. And there's nothing wrong with that. If Emmanuel's not a point guard, how the hell did he get a double-double with 10 assists? That's what I'm going to say to somebody. How the fuck does that man have such good chemistry with Jakob Poeltl and the way that they do pick and rolls and all the shit they do, and you're going to say he's not a point guard? Like, what? Wait, what? Huh? What? In some ways, I look at the point guard position as be the guy who handles the ball, obviously visibly on the court, the guy who's getting a high assist to turnover ratio, and he's just doing really well and keeping the team organized and run. Jamal Shed comes off the bench as a certain kind of point guard. In some ways, he may be a more traditional point guard than Emmanuel Quickly. And yeah, he did fine. He came out and got a bunch of assists, didn't score, and he played more like a point guard. But Emmanuel Quickly is getting 10 assists in the mix of it. So don't tell me he's not a point guard, because that man could average like 8 assists this year. And you're going to tell me Emmanuel Quickly is not a point guard? I mean, somewhat true. He's a combo guard, and he has the ability to switch to either position. I would say that's versatile. I would say that that's a luxury, and that's a bonus to have, Raptors fans, is to have a dual purpose player at that position instead of a pigeonholed, I'm just a point guard, I can't shoot guy. Or I'm just a shooting guard and I can't find my team players and get them the ball like Malachi Flynn. You can look at this. It's like this is good that Emmanuel likes to shoot so much. This is like, what is it? He balanced things fine, right? He balanced things fine. We won. He got points, and the other guys got assists off of him. So what is the problem here, Raptors fans? Seriously, 1 steal for him also. 10-3 assist to turnover ratio. I'll take it, Emmanuel Quickly. And anybody talking trash about, oh, he's not a real point guard. We need a real point guard. No, we don't. Because honestly, look at the way RJ passes it. Look at the way Brandon even passed it. Look at the way Jakob passes it. Look at the way Scotty passes it. Why the fuck do you think we need a full true point guard? It's much better to have that dual role, and he can revert in a moment between the two roles. Emmanuel Quickly, you're awesome, man. I love you, bro. And I love the fan interaction with Emmanuel. He had a lot of calls to maybe. Call me, maybe. Call me, maybe. Yeah, he was doing that all game. That's his new move. It's like Dennis has got the freeze. Well, Emmanuel's doing not the Skipley this year. He's calling me maybe. And right at the end of the game, Emmanuel dribbles out the game to the end of the time. And what does he do? He walks over and daps 3 young men at half court, sitting at courtside, and say, yeah, this is our win. Daps them like that. He's a fan interactive. I love you, Emmanuel. You're awesome. My last star of the game is Sandro Mamu. Sandro Mamu, yeah, I'm telling y'all, I said this summer. Raptors fans, we have the best skilled backup big we've had since Serge Ibaka. Seriously. Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka pairing, that is the best combo we've had, the championship combo. But now we got Yak and Mamu, and they are closer to them than most of the jabronis we've been putting out at centers in the last few years since the championship. I'm telling you right now, Sandro Mamu is an all-round player. We saw the all-roundness of him to a degree last night, and boy, isn't he fun to watch, y'all. Mamu said, knock you out. Damn right, Matt Devlin. And Mamu was very impressive for a stretch in there with some very nice layups and running the court and just all kinds of fun stuff. Mamu, 18 minutes, 5 of 6 from the field. Can't beat that. That's awesome. 0 for 3, 1 for 3. 3 offensive rebounds, 5 rebounds altogether, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, 10 points in 18 minutes, a -1. No, you see the contributions of Sandro. You see how much Jack Armstrong. I'm telling you right now, guys, he's going to be so much fun this year. And he really does fit with our team so well. It's just a really awesome thing to have. Bobby Webster, good job pinpointing Sandro Mamu. And, there's interesting talk. I'm pretty sure that Matt and Jack or somebody at TSN is listening to us because they kind of covered some of the stuff we went over yesterday. And one of them is that there was a lot of talk about big men and how there's so many around the league and we can just go get them. And I think this isn't kind of in response to the reaction of the Raptors fans about Shamshay getting waived. I mean, I want to say this, though, to Matt Devlin. Shamshay is a special project that I can see being a very good player. And that's why we feel like the rug has been pulled from underneath us with him. Because we know he probably will be very good down the road. And we want to covet him and hold on to him. It has an individual. And I get it. We can replace big men easy, go get this, go get that. And that was kind of what podcast last night. But still, I get it. And maybe he's right. I mean, what guys, and then we get Juju Reese, and he got to actually dress and sit on the bench. But they waived him after the game, guys. So it's weird, man. They had him available just in case, but they didn't actually want to see him on the court. But yeah, Julian Reese is going to go to 905. But yeah, I thought because he was dressed that we may see him in the game last night, but we didn't. Alas, we did not see him in the game, but he was there. He was dressed, and I'm sure Angel Reese was very excited for him. Let's just put it that way. Honorable mention goes to Jakob Pertl. If he had shot better, I would have made him one of the stars. He did get a double-double. The starters were all very good last night. 5 of 15 for Jakob. It's just a little off. Jakob has made a couple appearances in preseason. His timing's not exactly right, but it's going to be fine. We know how he's going to be, man. He's still solid. 6 offensive rebounds for Yak, 10 altogether, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks, +2 with 10 points. So a standard 10 and 10 double-double. And he was cool. He had some cool blocks. He really did. He had a block right at the beginning of the game, right to start. Did you see that RJ block? Wow, that one on Zaire Williams. That's what I'm saying. RJ's playing defense on another level this year. Just a totally new level. So, yeah, good job, starters. Good job, Sandro. Those are my stars of the game with honorable mention. All right, let's go see what you guys are saying in the chat. So much to talk about. There's really a lot of changes happening with the Raptors right now. And some of it is kind of, what the fuck is this? Like last night, we noticed that Matt and Jack are not sitting next to court anymore. And that Rodgers is selling their seats now. Like this is totally a Rodgers move. Like we really do. Like when this happened this summer, when they switched MLSE ownership to Ed Rodgers III, I was like, well, my job on this channel is to pay attention to the Raptors. And as a historian of the Raptors for 30 years, I understand the Raptors and different eras with different ownership, different general managers, different coaches, different franchise players. And well, we're in the Rodgers era of ownership with Bobby Webster as the GM, and we have to pay attention to how they run things. And well, there's been some differences. I'm not going to lie. They've done things very different in some ways since the last prior 12 years with Masai and Bobby running things together. And well, I guess Rodgers wants to get more money out of that real estate right up next to the court. And they've moved our broadcast team. I have no idea where the fuck they are in the arena. Like, are they putting them in that little room that they did the game the other night where they sit and watch the TV from another room in the arena? They don't get to sit in the ambiance. I know Matt and Jack are probably not thrilled about this. They won't say anything, obviously, because in some ways, them being by the court is really special. In some ways, they interact with the coaches. They interact with the players. They interact with Drake. I mean, that's the only bonus about them moving out of there. We probably won't ever see Drake get on the broadcast again because he won't be sitting next to them. But I think that they're really making a big mistake here because in some ways, Matt and Jack can call the game with the energy and the feel of the game next to it way better next to it than somewhere, who knows where the fuck they were in the arena last night. Whether they're up in a gondola, up at a higher part in the arena, wherever they are. I don't like this trend of NBA teams taking the announce crews away from courtside to upsell more tickets and putting them further away. In some ways, Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong could do their job better next to the court. Because you know why, Ed Rodgers and Keith Pelly? Because they can hear the refs talking. They can hear the coaches talking. They can even hear the players talking to an extent. So in some ways, you are taking away their ability to call the game to the best of their ability. You know, when coaches' challenges happen and Matt Devlin and Jack are sitting there, they can discern what's happening a little bit better when they can somewhat hear an earshot Ed Malloy talking to the scorer's table. I just think that in some ways, this is a change that, well, Ed Rodgers and them have decided to do. Whether it's also things like playing the Blue Jays game in the arena on the off time. I mean, I don't have a problem with that totally, but I see what y'all are doing, you know, and what King said on his To The Point episode saying that Ed Rodgers, his thing that he found out, his big bombshell was that he found out that Ed Rodgers does not like that the Raptors are more popular in Toronto right now than the Maple Leafs, and he wants to change the hierarchy of sports. So in some ways, we've already seen overtures that he's trying to put the Bills on us on our Raptors channel. He's putting the Blue Jays in our face at our game last night. And I'm sure there's been a lot of cross promotion with the Maple Leafs coming up soon too. So I don't know. I don't mind what they did with the Jays game last night because that's great for fans. And it's true. They're in the playoffs and this is special. And in some ways, they should put them on at halftime and do all that stuff. But I am very wary of your consolidation tendencies and you're wanting to kind of put everything in one box and make it all for one out of all your sports teams at Rogers. So in some ways, I'm very wary of some of these changes, whether it is the moving of our broadcast team or, all of a sudden the Blue Jays are getting shown on our big screen at the game. In some ways, that's a great thing. That's a fantastic thing for those fans. And I really don't have a problem with that in the playoffs. But if I fucking see regular season, Blue Jays all of a sudden or different and creeping in into Raptors stuff, I'm be like, what the fuck is this? I mean, we rejected that Bill shit. And, I'll be very paying attention to this kind of stuff. Where the fuck are Matt and Jack? Where are they? Seriously. I'm going to have to find out where they're sitting. If anybody was at the game last night and knows where they were in their new broadcast position, let me know. Because in some ways, I'm like, where the fuck were they? Are they in the remote viewing place? Why is that happening? That's a waste. Let them sit next to the court. Set them up down there. Get Mike Roach next to the court again. Alvin Williams. Is this just for TSN? No, I bet you they're doing this for all broadcasts, both TSN and Rogers. Both of them. That's right. All right, let's see. Trevor's saying his stars of the game were Scotty, RJ, Emmanuel, and Ingram. Yeah. The starters were fantastic. Sandro Mamu, also very fantastic. Trevor's saying, I will be in Atlanta next week for the Raptors game. There you go. Trevor's going to make the trip to the season opener and be at the Atlanta game for our game next Wednesday. You go, Trevor, literally to the game and represent the Raptor Freaks. Trevor is our guy stateside. I mean, he went to all the Las Vegas Summer League games this summer. This man goes to games for the Raptors constantly. And we love having an RFF on the stateside at the arenas representing our channel. Thank you, Trevor, for going to the game. Trevor's saying, who was that making fun of Grady's mustache? I was making fun of it a little bit at the beginning. At the beginning of the game, they were all wearing headbands to honor Brandon Ingram night. None of them kind of wore them in the game other than Shed. But Grady had that headband on before the game, and they showed a picture of him with his new mustache. You couldn't see it on TV. It's too light, but you could actually see it up close at this point. That's a rite of passage, young Grady. When you actually can grow facial hair that people can discern on your face, and it's not just peach fuzz, you're growing up. You're growing up right in front of us, old Grady. Yeah, in some ways, he had the porn stash last night and a little bit of a goatee, apparently, too. I didn't see that. But that's probably been an issue for Grady, and he's very proud of it. I mean, obviously, I know when I was younger, all my facial hair was very light hair colored as a blonde kid. And, in some ways, that's the thing with Grady is like he finally has his mustache showing up and he's feeling real good. All right, we got a super chat, and I appreciate it, man. This is from Power once again. Good morning, Power. Good to see you back in the chat this morning. I really appreciate the super chat, man. He's saying Brandon Ingram is definitely matching Scotty's defensive intensity. Brandon was picking up players full court and got so many steals, plus the clutch 3-point shot. Yeah, his part in the game last night is great because he really does. This is the thing. We got a good general manager. He knows what we lack, and he goes and gets the things that we lack. We needed a player like Quickly. He went and got Quickly. We needed a clutch shooter like Ingram. We got Ingram. And I really feel like Bobby gets a lot of credit for pinpointing stuff. Like Sandro's a brilliant move. Seriously, think about Sandro Mamu. And, really what we did is we flipped Boucher for Sandro. And can you guys see how Sandro – listen, y'all saw how he bodies up people. He can play center. He can hold people in the rebounds and stuff. And he's good enough to get up and down the court and even put the ball on the floor. Like Jack said, in a different situation, he's so versatile because of his skill for a guy his size. So, yeah, Brandon was awesome. That's part of the reason why we love Scotty too, is because he sets the benchmark for how the Raptors need to play on defense and the energy they need to put out. And honestly, that's the thing you want from your best player. You don't want a lazy guy like LeBron setting the tone. This is how we play, guys. I'm LeBron. And no, you want a guy like Scott who's going to go all out. He's not going to ask anybody else to do more than he's doing. And if you're not doing as much as he's doing, well, he's going to call you out and call you accountable. You definitely want that kind of leader, man. Power. Once again, I really sincerely appreciate your super chat, man. And I hope that you're having a fantastic Saturday morning. That's right. I bet you are, because the Raptors got a good game last night. That's right. James is here. Good to see Raptor Freak James. He's in some ways, man, James is like one of the MVPs this year, man. I'm not gonna lie. James has been an MVP on this channel this year. In some ways, I see you as like one of the best contributors on this channel right now, James. I really do. I appreciate your participation. He's the number one top fan right now, too. He's saying Scotty didn't force anything. He just took it, whatever the defense gave him. Yeah. And you know what? I hate to say it, but once again, one of my pieces of advice for Scott earlier this week was kind of shown last night. It's about being spontaneous. It's not about telegraphing. It's not about setting a concrete structure in your head for the next 30 seconds in your mind, Scott. Maybe you have only a half second for you to decide what you're going to do next. Because when you improvise, when you do really cool shit, you do little Dr. J finger rolls around people like this and lay it up. You do little and around Michael Porter to make a layup and a little baby hook. That's what I'm saying. Scott, you can't telegraph your own self. I'm telling you, man, you are an entity that can be fluid in the moment to do high premium actions in a basketball court and any of the actions. So you need to just go with the flow, baby. Because when you go with the flow, you got a game like that last night. Now, granted, we have to understand the team we played last night is really bad. And we're going to look real good in a lot of different ways for this, but baby steps. And in some ways, you do need a bad team to play against to try stuff out and really try and master it more. Because when you go against teams like the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Knicks, you're going to need to be playing at a high level to be successful against them. But it's good to get a game against a bad team like the Nets to tune it up and get started. In some ways, we needed a baseline ground of what we can see with our starters from last night to build into, well, Wednesday in the Atlanta Hawks in the regular season, a game that counts. Let's see the test there. Jakob Poeltl after the game, very happy about the game. Of course, he did not come back in the game last night because he tweaked his back a little bit. And I don't think this is going to be a big, huge issue. I think they're very much babying him right now. But he's very anxious to get to Atlanta and play the Hawks on Wednesday and show them what we're doing right now. Oh, yeah. Yak has been saying this a couple times in the last few weeks. He wants to play other teams and just show off how good our starters are now because he knows. He knows. In some ways, Jakob Poeltl may be telling people, this is the most talented starting five I've ever been on. He may be saying that. Seriously, that's pretty good Jakob, isn't it? This is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. I was like, I can channel people's voices. So, yeah, I'll bet you he's saying that. I'll bet you he's saying that right now, man. That's right. Unlike the Boston game. Yeah, he didn't force things. Yeah, if you really learn to read things with an instant and get your instincts on reading and it's like subtle things, the best in the world, like Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, they would read subtle little minuscule muscle expressions on their people's faces or where their eyes are looking or even where they might put their feet and what they're going to do. And if they have a good scout and tape on certain individual players, and they know all their tendencies, you can telegraph people really fast. And if you process quickly, like top stars in the NBA, in the history of the NBA, like Magic Johnson, like Larry Bird, like Michael Jordan, you can have an advantage because you just need to be like that. You need to be telegraphing a couple steps ahead, but not necessarily going concretely into those actions and allowing for improvisation. I'm telling you, man, when you flow like that, you flow like you did last night. And it was really good. Really, really good. James is saying Ingram is a difference maker. Great addition to the squad. Yeah. Yeah, he really does fill a role that we needed. And I'm so confident in our late game situations now. In the past years, since our championship, since Kawhi left, to an extent, we have not felt totally confident with the Raptors closing out games and hitting big shots. Fred was good at times. Gary Trent Jr. every once in a while. Pascal, he did his stuff. He tried to. But in the era that we've been in, we haven't had anybody like Brandon in a long time. And it's going to be very helpful late in the game, for sure. He's a difference maker, for sure. James is saying, is CMB back on opening night? That's what they're saying in the interviews afterwards that, we saw Colin enough at Summer League. We remember he missed some games in Summer League too. And we've seen him in preseason. And we like what we see. he's a rookie. We want to let him kind of go into the season like with not a whole lot of pressure. Even if he's strong enough to play against the NBA right away. I know Raptors fans are eager to see him a lot, but we really do need to do things in the right way and the right steps to develop him correctly. And I feel like there is a danger of, expectation and throwing him in the deep end too early in his rookie year where we can mess things up with him a little bit. So I like the team being overly cautious with his, they changed it from an elbow to a forearm injury. And, when we see him, we see him. Everybody's saying he's ready for Wednesday. He's going to be suited up and he will play on Wednesday, if that's your question. So, yeah, he should be back. Let's see. Fiercey saying, good morning, fam. Happy Saturday. Good game. We caused disruption and turnovers. Adding because make them uncomfortable mentality. Nets kept hitting their threes in the third, made the game competitive. It was a tale of two halves. The first half, the Raptors got 72 points. And that is a lot of points. That's like over 35 each quarter. And things kind of settled down. I think the Raptors kind of played a little more relaxed and lackadaisical in the second half. And give credit to Jordy. Jordy is such a competitor. He's not just going to roll over. My team sucks. They're way better than mine. I think that they're going to beat us. I just should give up. No, he's pushing them. And that's a good coach. And a lot of respect to Coach Fernandez. But the thing is that the Nets caught fire and we weren't getting to them. That's easily fixed. It's just we need to get going on like getting out to the 3-point line and catching them when they get hot like that. But we really didn't try and stop them. We just let them kind of go through the motions and do it. And that's a little concerning. Like against a better team, we can't do shit like that. So there's definitely tape from the second half about how we let the Nets get back in this game that these guys need to watch. And it's basically going to be like, yeah, y'all need to guard the three better at this point. And Michael Porter Jr., yeah, enjoy your enhanced fantasy stats and losing a lot, bro. Seriously. Enjoy your enhanced fantasy stats. That man's going to look so good this year with his stat line. But, man, seriously, empty calories all around on that shit right there. Yeah. Yeah, the uncomfortableness of the other team is fun because it starts at half court, mid court, full court. And it's usually two Raptors coming and really agitating people and getting them in a really scared position. We're like, oh, what do I do? Here's Jonathan Mobo and Chucky Hepburn on my ass all of a sudden. What do I do? What do I do? Oh, and then you try and throw it and you throw it out of bounds. Or you throw a shitty pass to another teammate and there's a third Raptor running the lane, grabbing it named Jacoby Walter, running the other way. Yeah, that stuff is awesome. And I love that philosophy. I love that we're a shit disturber team. And that Darko wants us to go out and make the other people feel uncomfortable and really annoyed. And yeah, we're doing that assignment. We're doing that assignment for sure. It's been awesome, man. It's been awesome. Yeah, Fiercely saying my 5 stars of the game are the starting 5. There you go. Special mentions to Mamu, Jacoby, Grady, and Grady's mustache. There you go. She's giving prop to Grady's mustache. I'm going to give a dunk to Fiercely for giving credit where credit's due. Good job, Grady. You have grown facial hair. And in some ways, we're going to give Fiercely a dunk for pointing it out. All right, yeah, let's do the rest of the box score for the Raptors and see what the bench did. He ran a regular rotation, which is very interesting. I don't think he would have played Jonathan if Jakob had not been able to play. Now, you see the difference with Jakob in the game and not in the game. That's when a lot of the bullshit happened in the second half with the Nets coming back. And there was a lot of open door policy near the end of the game where we had no low post defense. And the Nets were getting easy baskets near the basket. And I was like, put Jakob back in. Put Jakob back in. I was like, wait, he missed his assignment. Oh, he's out for the night. He tweaked his back. And that's a classic story in the past few years of the Raptors, with or without Yak. I can't play with or without Yak. Oh, like with or without you, with or without Yak. No, we need with Yak because we are a better team with Jakob out there. And we've seen just in one game the difference of that. And him not being available, well, this is a concern that somebody brought up this week, actually, is that what if Yak is out? What do we do? Well, does he put in Sandro immediately? No. It seems that in this case, he gets Scott at the 5, and he brings Grady and Oshai in as an offensive defensive substitution with the starters, with Yak out. In some ways, this is a tell on how Darko sees the rotation and the hierarchy of the players and where they are. As Jack and Matt kind of pointed out, that Jacoby Walter may be the 11th man with Colin Murray Boyles healthy, and that the 10 are the starters with Sandro, Oshai, Jamal, and Grady and Colin. So we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. It'll change on different nights. But yeah, Jakob Poeltl was very much missed at the end of the game. And they played Scott at center, which I don't totally agree with. You can do that against Day'Ron Sharpe and the Nets and Noah Clowney and Nick Claxton. But I wouldn't like them to do that against a playoff team. Scotty, in some ways, as somebody said in the Raptors highlights comments, Scotty should not be playing center, Darko. And I agree with this to an extent. I really do. But he may want to at times, or there may be situations like last night at the end of the game where all of a sudden Scotty is thrust in the center position for defense, just as the biggest guy for the Raptors on the court. So in some ways, it's not ideal. But Jonathan came in for 1 second, one moment, and got just an appearance, but he didn't do anything out there. He was a +1, though. That's pretty interesting. Oshai, not as good, not as steady today as the other games in preseason. 1 for 4, missed all 3 of his three-point attempts, got 2 offensive rebounds, an assist, and was a -6 with just 2 points in 17 minutes. So, yeah, Oshai, not the best of those 3 if we're gauging. Last night it was Grady's night, even though Grady wasn't supremely great either. Grady was 2 for 7 in 21 minutes, 0 for 3 at 3, 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, -2 with 7 points, including a very fantastic dunk where he came in there and threw it down. You go on then, Grady, with your badass dunking. That's the thing. Grady didn't make a 3, but out of the 3 of those guys, and Walter, the other one, 9 minutes for Walter, 1 of 2, 1 free pointer he made in the corner there, 2 offensive rebounds for him, 4 assists for Jacoby with 0 turnovers. Actually, that's kind of on the down low, really good. He was 4 assists, 0 turnovers, Jacoby, and 3 points for. I don't know. This is something that we should gauge year round. The 3 amigos, the 3 guys in the middle with Jacoby, Oshai, and Grady. Who is in the power rankings of those 3 as far as who's doing what? I don't want to make it unhealthy or toxic, but in some ways, this is something we should be checking here. I think also because of these 3 guys and them being so good, all 3 of them, that's part of the reason why Roden and Lawson are gone, because we didn't have to go that deep on our depth chart with the 2 and the 3 position, because we're good there. And in some ways, that's part of maybe why. Who knows what's going to happen with AJ? I want AJ back, though. And then, they come and get Julian Reese, who's a power forward. And that shows that, they want to get a little bit more depth up front, just in case things like Yak tweaks his back, stuff like that. Jamal Shed, as I said earlier, he didn't take a damn shot, man. Not even a free throw. 14 minutes, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 1 block for Jamal. So that block was nice. 0 points for Jamal. But hey, was he bad? No. That's the thing. He didn't try to shoot, but he was facilitating and he was playing his dogged professional defense. So yeah, it's a great solid effort. And we saw that, Darko's going to play that 10-man rotation. And that, Chucky, Jameson, Elijah, these guys may not get into every game and they may be watching for a bit, So yeah, there's more of the box score with the rest of the Raptors. Yeah, Grady was my top 3 amigo last night. He was my top 3 amigo. Yeah. All right, let's see. Fiercey's saying this. I like IQ Selly. Call me. Yeah, how about that, y'all? Call me. If you have the number. Fiercey, you can call me right now. If you want to come on the show and talk about the game with me over the phone, you're welcome to. Call me, maybe. Call me, maybe. Yeah, see, it's a real thing. That'll maybe be the whole segment called. We'll do the IQ call. The IQ call me, maybe. If you have IQ, call me. If you don't. That's what I say. If you have basketball IQ, call me. But if you don't call me, maybe. Okay. I don't know. I'm just riffing here. That's right. Hoping Jakob takes the opportunity to rest his lower back in the upcoming days off. BI3 looking very good on defense. I think they're ultra sensitive to Yak. And I don't think this is an issue at all. I think that it's just like, well, did you feel any discomfort? If you feel any discomfort at any point, we'll go ahead and take you out. And it's not an actual injury. It's just him being like, oh, I'm babying it. Bit kind of okay, you're out, okay, all right, boom, something like that. I bet it's not a serious thing at all. Yak's demeanor after the game and what he said on Facebook is very like poo-pooing it. Like this is not an issue at all. And it's interesting that he didn't break his nose in the Eurobasket. He broke his nose in practice, is what they were saying. Yeah. I really love the interview Darko did yesterday with William Liu, where he was asked, will you play the coaches versus the press like the Celtics did this past week? And Darko's like, oh, for sure. You don't want this smoke. And I was like, I'm kind of sizing this up. And I'm like, all right, Samson Falk is actually kind of a baller, guys. I'm not gonna lie. He's actually got some skills and he's an athlete. He's actually got athleticism and he's young. I like that Matt and Jack are like, we're out. We're not doing this. They're actually going over it on the broadcast saying, yeah, Jack's like, I retired from basketball a long time ago. I ain't getting out there. And Matt's like, yeah, we did this a long time ago. And boy, people were getting hurt with black eyes and all this stuff. And it was like, yeah, we don't need to be doing this. The young core could do it, though. The young press core could come out there and do it. I'm sure William Liu and, Josh Lewinberg might get out there just for the hell of it. Who knows? But that would be pretty fun. Obviously, the Raptors coaches would wipe the floor with them. And Darko's exactly right when he says you don't want this smoke. I mean, Doug Smith out there, that would be hilarious. Michael Grange getting blocked by Mike Batiste. That'd be so good, man. In some ways, I would like to watch that. I really would like to watch the press versus the coaches. There seems to be a trend that this is happening around different NBA franchises right now, like the Celtics did just recently. I would love to see this in some ways, Lindsey Dunn, you gonna play? It'd be cool. Actually, the press might have had more of a chance if Savannah Hamilton was still working for Rogers. Seriously, she could get out there and actually hoop because she's a basketball player, right? But yeah, it's an interesting idea, man. Interesting idea. Press versus coaches in Raptorland. It'd be very, very interesting. Darko says he can shoot. Then he met him up. And we know Mike Batiste is a legend in Greece, man. That dude is a bona fide badass, and he's a legit power forward size, so he could just dominate the whole thing. When the Celtics beat the press this week, I mean, they have Sam Cassell on their coaching staff. What the hell? What do you expect? Sam Cassell going to come and kill your ass, of course. I don't know. I feel like these are mismatches, press versus coach matchups. I think that almost every single time the coaches are going to kick the press's ass. And that's the difference between a professional and not being a professional. Right there, right there. Yeah, BI looking really good on defense. That's right. I like that. I like that. James is saying, Lex, do you think Evan Mobley? Okay, I jumped ahead right when I started reading it. Make sure I'll get back to it. Let's see. Oh, it's James. It's James, Lex. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? All right, here. Lex, do you think Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes are on the same level? Yesterday, post-game Raptors podcaster was talking about it. Well, this is the thing. They came in together. It's really like the three of these guys are the tier from that draft. In some ways, I don't agree with Evan Mobley being on the same tier as Scott. I really don't. Cade and Scott are around the same tier. And in some ways, I would even put Franz in that tier with them before Evan Mobley. If we're talking about that draft class, we can bring in Banchero and other things too, if you really want to. But no, let's keep it to this draft class. Obviously, the Rookie of the Year race that year was very close, and Evan Mobley was just shy of winning it behind Scotty Barnes. And people are still mad about that. Cleveland fans are still mad about that. Of course, he got a Defensive Player of the Year last year, which I don't agree with, honestly. Evan Mobley is enhanced by the presence of Jared Allen playing next to him in his career. And a lot of his shit is better just because he's teammates with Allen. And the other thing is, look, if you're looking at who's the better player all around, Scotty is. Because Evan Mobley is a certain type of player that fits a type mold at the four. But he can't do all the other stuff that Scott does. So, no, I'd say that it's not, look, everybody's going to perceive them as being equals. Most of them. Some people even say Mobley's way better than Scott. Almost all the rankings put Mobley above Scott. But it's bullshit. And if Scotty blossoms this year, and he shows the level of power and all-around play he can do, he should blow it out of the water. And once again, remind everybody why he's the Roy and not Evan Mobley. So I know that the NBA really pigeonholes them all together, Cunningham, Mobley, and Barnes. In some ways, I say that Cunningham's closer to Barnes, but Barnes is the best of all of them. and they got the rookie of the year right when they did that year. So we'll just, the NBA's perception is Mobley's better than Barnes, but I don't think that's true. And what's going to happen is the truth will come out with Scotty's excellence, and that will show people right there. That's right. That's it right there. Let's go. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying Scotty's back, baby. That's right. Scotty is back. And everybody who doubted him, shame on him. Shame on you. Why did you doubt Scott? Listen, once again, what did Lex say? The preseason is for experimentation. He's not doing his normal shit because he's trying other stuff. Maybe he's trying to get a little bit of a new thing or new wrinkle into his game, trying out what he's doing. And I've seen it, and it's extra effort and attention on team defense. And well, God forbid Scotty doesn't do what he already knows he can do in every single of the 6 preseason games. Save it for the regular season when it counts. Save the run into the basket and taking licks when you can actually get the stats to matter. Seriously, that's another thing that people don't realize. Preseason doesn't go anywhere. It goes and just gets flushed out into the trash. And you don't see those stats don't go anywhere. Even all these great highlights that we've seen, the Raptors will use them for media and stuff like that. But these stats don't matter. They don't go to the guy's career stats. And we have to always remember that about preseason. Preseason does not count. And in some ways, whatever you're doing in preseason is not to be taken as this is going to happen. And that's what people need to remember about preseason. It's crazy. Yeah. D-Ice X. I like that. D-Ice X. BBB, Bully Ball Barnes. Yeah. I'm all about this. Go down low and beat up on them babies, Scott. Just like you used to on Twitch playing NBA 2K. He'd be bragging, I'm a big get on my back, babies, and I'm going to beat you in the post. He could do this. He can do this. Now, let's think about Scott next week on Wednesday, a little preview against Kongwu and Porzingis and the bigs for Atlanta. Will he be able to do as much against the higher talent and maybe taller players? It'll be tougher to go down there. But will he have easier weapons around him to hopefully figure things out with Brandon Ingram here now? Yes. And that's what the broadcast said last night. Nobody on this team is going to get help more because of Brandon's here than Scotty Barnes. And we did see finally Brandon and Scotty interacting with each other on the court with synergy, and it was fine. It was fine. I saw them passing to each other, and I saw the way they were spacing the floor and working off each other way better this time. It was awkward. The beginning of the Celtics game on Wednesday, there was some miscommunication, and some people were in the wrong spots at times. But that was worked out in the tape room the next day. And on Friday night, we saw the very, very good spacing of the Raptors so that our starting 5 could flourish. Now, granted, once again, we were playing a very bad team, and you can look better in a lot of different ways for that. But you got to start somewhere, and we'll ratchet up the competition as the season goes on. We'll be playing different levels of teams, and we'll just have to see the level of excellence that the Raptors come each and every night against the opponent that they're playing against. And, we got to start somewhere. We can do this to the Nets. Well, let's get to the point where we can do this to the Nuggets and the Thunder. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Good to see you, D-Ice. Good to see you. Shaq Lindsay saying RJ, IQ, and BI are snipers from the field. RJ's shot is just so awesome, man. It's crazy. In some ways, RJ makes threes easier than free throws. Like, seriously, think about that. It kind of feels like RJ makes threes better than free throws sometimes. It's really when he gets that set shot on the three. It's money. And the crazy thing is, like I said, he's so wide open right now. That's when some guys just miss because they're like, oh, he's too open. It's too open. You miss. No, he's nailing those. And in some ways, that and fundamentals he's ingrained in himself, in his basketball life, in his career, is like, you don't get that overnight. He's very confident 3-point shooter. And I love it. I love it. I love when RJ hits a three. It's just something about it, man. There's just something about it. Firebolt's here. Good to see Carla back in the chat. Of course, Carla is one of our Raptor Freaks on the East Coast in the Maritimes. Great to see you checking in this morning. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. Great get-back game for Scotty to prove the haters wrong. That's right. That's right. Scotty hears the noise. Scotty hears y'all trying to trade him off. Scotty hears all your bullshit, sloppy Barnes, asshole bullshit. Yeah, he hears it, and he showed y'all. And once again, this is what he told us on Twitch a long time ago, 4 years ago. He said, "Don't ever doubt me, Raptors freak. Don't ever doubt me." And I heard him when he said that, and I took it to heart. And ever since then, I was like, man, I'm never going to doubt Scott again because I know he's got us. And whatever it happens, success or failure, whatever it is, his intentions, his heart are pure and true to get the Raptors as far up and getting the Larry O'Brien as much as possible. He's going to get there again. Our team's going to get us there again. I'm telling you right now. I feel it. So good to see you, Carlo, in the chat. So good to see you. James is saying, I like how RJ can adapt playing any role needed. Yeah, in some ways, that's true in some extent. That RJ, in some ways, is filling the gaps around Brandon and Scotty and IQ even. And, those guys are a little bit more rigid in some ways. Like Brandon and Emmanuel are pretty more rigid with their bag of tricks and what they're going to do. Scotty's a little bit more variable. And RJ's just like, he's so selfless. It's like he doesn't care about how much he scores. But if the Raptors need scores, he's going to help them go get scores. So he has no ego in it. And in some ways, it's not like he's running out there trying to be more of a franchise player than Scott. It's not like he's out there keeping tabs on whether he's got more points than Brandon. No, he's filling those gaps in the roles, and he's doing what is best for the team to win because he's a team player, and he loves his city, and he's a Toronto boy, and he's just really happy to be a Raptor. So, yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with any of that, man. Ain't nothing wrong with any of that with RJ Barrett. And anybody thinks that there's a problem with that, well, you are off base, man. And I will talk you down every single time. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying Scotty's movement without the ball was great. Yeah, I really did like that series where he would they bring the ball up the court. Sometimes he'd bring it up and he'd stand at the top of the key and kind of look around, see how things were kind of developing the play. He'd pass it to somebody and then he'd cut down into the lane and do a little curl. And it was really giving him a great opportunity to catch the ball in a good position to do low post stuff. And if he's getting past his defender on that cut, he's getting an easy layup or dunk. That's really, really awesome stuff. And I love that play action. That play action with Scott starting at the top, and then he's doing a cut through the lane. Keep going there. And I like that Matt and Jack were saying this. It's kind of like, Jack, sometimes players just need to have 2 or 3 good things that they do. Bread and butter over and over again. I agree with you, Matt. And it's like, you're talking about Scott. And I know a lot of Raptors fans are being like, yeah, let's get that bread and butter down there in that lane with those Kawhi turnaround post shots and mid-range shots, Scott. In some ways, it's like, look, the three-pointer is something you're going to have to shoot at times everywhere, but it shouldn't be an emphasis. It shouldn't be a focus. It shouldn't be your proclivity. Your proclivity in some ways is if they're actually going to come out and give you the space to drive around them, you need to go to the basket. If you're in some sort of situation in transition where they haven't come to get you on the outside, but you have a lane to drive the basket, give up the three-point shot and drive to the lane and dunk it. Because honestly, your three-point shot isn't money enough for us to rely on it like that. And I'm telling you, if you get driving lanes where you're at in the three-point shot, you need to drive. Stop fucking settling for the three. Because when you go to the basket, you make crazy Dr. J layups like, woo! It's so cool, man. That layup was awesome. I love that finger roll shit. It's so awesome, man. Alan Tam, bam, son, is here. Blue Jays game 6. Let's do this. Tie the series tomorrow. That's right. It's a travel day. The Blue Jays and the Mariners are traveling back to Toronto to play at Rogers Center tomorrow. And yes, unfortunately, the Blue Jays lost a pivotal Game 5 last night in Seattle. It's too bad. It is what it is. They're not done yet. And, well, both the games are going to be here in our stadium. So hopefully the Blue Jays will tie it up tomorrow and we'll get a Game 7. And that will be fantastic. I guess the Game 7 will end up being on Monday, guys. So, yeah, some big-time stuff. Blue Jays, you're doing it. Finish the assignment. You have work still to do, and you're not done yet. They still have to beat you one more time. Unfortunately, I heard that a lot of things that happened last night were really centered around a pitcher named Little, and that maybe the management made a poor decision and when they put him in the game and things fell apart. And this guy's really feeling awful because he pitched really bad at that moment. That's too bad. Some ways, John Schneider, read the room and make the right decision. And in some ways, it wasn't right for you to put that man in that position. You know that wasn't the right decision. That's what I'm hearing right now. That's what I'm hearing. I didn't watch the game. Raptors Champs is back in the house. What's up? Rodman, indeed. That's right. We love Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is somebody that is a role model to me when I was young, as far as his rebounding and defense and his hard work attitude. This is where I come from with the mind that I have for basketball, is that I can see the excellence and Hall of Fame career of Dennis Rodman and understand that scoring isn't everything. And I think that that's a lesson for a lot of younger fans of the NBA and the Raptors right now. They need to go and understand who Dennis Rodman is and understand exactly what he's all about. That's right. Giannis Sky's here. Hey, hello. Do you guys play NBA fantasy? We do, Giannis Sky, but you got to be here earlier. We filled up our league already. We have a 16 team league, and we did our draft 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we're already set up and we're playing, and we got our teams already set. And this will be our 4th year of playing NBA fantasy on this channel. So we have a lot of teams that have been playing already for a couple of years. But you know what? You got to get here and be on the channel earlier before preseason to get in our official league. But I would definitely put you in the league if you're here at the right time. But we filled it up. I guess if you had been here maybe a month ago, I was open audition saying, hey, anybody wants to be in our fantasy league, come on in now. But unfortunately, we're closed for the year and we already have our teams. But Giannis Sky, salute, man. Salute to you. Always good to see the man holding it down. The Greek Raptor Freak. How about that? Can I start calling you that? The Greek Raptor Freak? I think you'd like that, right? It's a Mike Batiste fan, big time. He would totally kill the press. Oh my gosh. In some ways, I'd want to see Mike Batiste dunk it off of Michael Grange's head. That would be awesome. That would be so good. That'd be so good. Brian's here. Good to see King from To The Point is back. Y'all, I hope you checked out his season preview with Coach Roach that he dropped yesterday and my little phone appearance on there. Yeah, check out To The Point, T.O. Point with King. And it's a fun show. I'm sure I'll appear on it at some point soon. I usually appear on it around this time of year. Who knows? We'll figure out when. King, I'll come in and do my shot with you. And in some ways, I think he wants me to talk about a specific subject when I come on the show there. That's right. He's saying, what is up, Freak Nation? Hope y'all watched the latest To The Point video. Where's the Scotty haters now? I'm sure he who shall not be named was hard as F. That's gross, first of all. And in some ways, yeah. Pensero is probably very happy about the game last night. I'm sure he's breaking it down all kinds of different ways, very Scotty-centrically. Some ways I want him to RJ Barrett's horn and Emmanuel Quickley and Brandon Ingram right now, because these guys, wow. I really love the changes with Barrett and Quickley, and Ingram has been such a good addition. That's right. But we love Scotty, and he is the franchise player. That's right. Fiercely saying Scotty and RJ are in the paint are like bulldozers. Yeah, or trains applying pressure. Man, I just love the versatility. Once again, the biggest factor that decided this game last night is talent. The Nets have no kind of established talent on their team. Michael Porter Jr. is the best out of all that. And that's sad when you have to say that. And we have a very, very talented starting five. And they don't beat us at any of those positions. There's not a position where they are more talented than us. So we need to beat them. You know, before the game, I kind of noticed that Michael Porter Jr. was looking around the crowd, looking a little sad, looking a little scared, honestly. In some ways, maybe he's like thinking, this is where my brother played, and this is where his life went to shit. And this is a sad place for me because he played for Toronto and he did something knuckleheadedness. But I'm a Porter, and in some ways, we don't take onus for our decisions and our misgivings and our crimes. We just deflect. So it's all Raptors' fault that my brother became a gambling degenerate and threw away his NBA career. So it's like, yeah, he probably feels some weird energy when he comes to Toronto because of Jonte. Yeah, I'll bet he does. Did he kill us last night because of Jonte? Did you do it for Jonte, Michael Porter Jr.? Your brother's in jail and he deserves to be in jail because he's a fucking piece of shit for breaking the sanctity of basketball with his gambling bullshit that he did. So yeah, Michael Porter Jr., your family's the villains. Your brothers killed people in drunk driving accidents, and your brother's in jail for federal crimes of racketeering in the NBA. So yeah, don't give me this shit. Don't give me this shit. Let's see. Michael Porter Jr. was 12 of 20 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3, 4 of 5 at the free throw line, 10 rebounds, 34 points, 4 turnovers. Whoever got Michael Porter Jr. on your fantasy team, yeah, you're going to get some stats. That's for sure. Nicholas Claxton, 13 points and 10 rebounds with a double-double. 20 points for Zaire Williams off the bench. He was absolutely sensational in the second half. And in some ways, it was like the teacher and the student revisiting each other. And it's like, Grasshopper, how have you come? Oh, teacher, let me show you. And Zaire Williams has a special bond with Darko Rajakovic from Memphis Grizzlies, guys. In fact, Zaire gives Darko a lot of credit for him still being in the league right now. So, of course, Zaire wanted to go off and show good stuff for his old coach. There's nothing but love between those two guys. But I'm sure Darko in some ways was annoyed with his former pupil coming back in the game, but also at the same time, very proud of him. Awesome. So, yeah, 8 of 14 for Zaire, 4 of 8 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 steal with 20 points in 28 minutes, a +1. Yeah, the Nets played a lot of different guys. We also saw Igor for a little while. He's on my fantasy team. And I'm actually impressed with him. I think that I'm going to get good production out of him. So I feel like I'm feeling pretty good about some of my young players like Keyshawn George and Igor Doman. That's what that's how you pronounce that. It's not Igor Demon. Doman. That's what Matt was saying last night. Igor Daman or something like that, man. But either way, Igor got 14 points, and he looked kind of solid as a young rookie. The other rookie for them looked horrible. Not Saraf, but Trayor. There was a point where they put in their backup point. First of all, the Nets are fucked at point guard this year. Absolutely fucked at point guard this year. They don't have a real point guard. They started Terrence Mann at point guard last night because in some ways they're going to be susceptible the whole damn season. And when they put in that kid from France, I immediately pegged him as sus because he's going to be coughing the ball up. He saw the buzzsaw that is the Raptors full court press and the trapping with our guys like Shed and Quickly and all them. And fuck, man, he was susceptible to that shit. That man had so much trouble bringing the ball up the court, the French guy, Nolan Traore. Now, this is the thing. When I did my scout on him earlier this year, I saw that in him. And it just feels good to finally be like, yeah, Lex, you know what you're talking about. Because when I scouted Nolan Traore, and I saw him kind of getting positioned around the draft, possibly where we could draft him, I was like, fuck that. We don't want this French point guard. This guy's not going to do jack shit. He's going to get ate up in the league. And he saw it last night. He was absolutely ineffective as a point guard. And our guards were guarding him so well and doggedly. This is going to be an issue for the Nets all season long. They don't have a true point guard. Like, they seriously don't. And Cam Thomas, what the fuck were you doing last night, bro? 1 for 10? 7 points? Nah, the Nets have big, huge holes in their roster. And some positions just don't have suitable people to do the duties for that position. And point guard is one of them. If they think Doman is going to be their starting point guard this year, this is going to be a tough year for them. Seriously. And they may have needed somebody like Mike Conley or Chris Paul around this team all of a sudden. Maybe Dennis Schroeder needs to come back. Maybe Dennis Schroeder needs to come back. But yeah, Traore was totally susceptible. And they're coming to get him. Ben Saraf was interesting. He only made 1 shot. He made 3 points. But he was annoying. He was a little bit annoying player. Yeah. But yeah, they're rookies. I'm not that impressed with them, honestly. Igor is the best one, though. I can tell. He's the best one. Let's keep going in the chat here. Let's see. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Rapid Free Crew. Good morning to you, Cool Cat. Always good to see the coach. Shaq Lindsay saying RJ is only like 25. His potential is through the roof. Yeah, I mean, I don't even care if he gets that much better. I just want him to hone it down. If he has got DeRozan code and he is like a hero of his as a child, DeMar DeRozan, well, he's going to come back every summer with a new thing and improve and never rest on his laurels. Always trying to get better every year, just like DeMar DeRozan has been doing for almost 20 years now. So that's the kind of player I want on my team. I want a guy who's not just trying to get the bag in the NBA, cash out, and coast for the rest of their career. I want guys like DeMar DeRozan that are fucking putting in that work every single year, and their consistency and their level of play gets them to places like all-time, like DeMar is on the all-time NBA scoring list. So that's the thing. DeMar had DeRozan code. You deserve being in the top 30 all-time NBA scorers in the history of the whole entire league. That's what I'm saying. RJ is that type of guy with that kind of DNA. Where are we going to see RJ in about 20 years from now? I don't know. Maybe in like 10, 15 years. Where are we going to see RJ at that point? Still in the league? I'd like to see that, just like DeMar. That's right. That's right. Trevor J saying, Shed, man, he can draw offensive foul like crazy. All right, not talking about sheds, but he is really good at that. And I love that he's carried on the tradition of our GOAT, Kyle Lowry, to continue to try and draw those fouls. He learned some tricks from Davion Mitchell last year, and he's employing them, and he's being very effective at drawing charges. But the charge I want to talk about from the game last night is the RJ charge that turned into a challenge. When I first saw that play, I swore from the angle I was watching that RJ was in this restricted area when he took that charge. And I was like, oh, that's the right call. It's a foul on RJ because he was within the line. But when they went to look at it again, and Malloy went and looked at the cartoons, RJ's feet were actually outside of the little half arc. And they made the right call after that and made it an offensive foul. And that was a really interesting, crucial play. He was shuffling, maybe moving a little bit. But listen, once again, Ed Malloy was very nice to us last night. And in some ways, well, he can be nice to us in a game that don't matter. But let's see how he is with the Nets game in the season. He may be giving them unnecessary, easy help in some ways. Fiercely saying, I rewatched the game with the Nets broadcast. Unlike the Wizards, no glazing. They provide individual Raptors accomplishments and acknowledgement of our defense, pressure, and playmaking. That's great. That's fantastic. That's an unbiased broadcast. I applaud the Nets broadcast for being like that. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, yeah, the Wizards broadcast was very bad, and the Celtics are annoying as hell too, obviously. They're always going to be annoying. Brian Scalabrine is annoying. Some people may find him entertaining as an announcer and this and that, and sometimes he's fair to some of our Raptors, but I still find him very annoying. Very, very annoying. That's right. Let's see. Fiercey's got a couple of you on blast. We're going to have to get Shamshay out of there, man, unfortunately. It's kind of sad. We're going to have to take his little thing out there. Nins, we're going to have to change the faces on our channel again because some shuffling arounds happened. Shaq Lindsay saying, I think we forget RJ was the third pick in the 2019 draft behind Zion and Ja Morant. Yeah. And in some ways, he's the more solid, dependable player out of those three. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, some people may forget that. Some way people are trying to forget him because he's the Canadian guy on the Canadian team. And in some ways, they're trying to bury the coverage of the Raptors. But RJ understands all this. He grew up around this with the Raptors. He knows just how we get slighted. And that's the thing I love about our guys. This is part of the reason why we are usually designed to win. Because first of all, we want people that want to come here to Toronto, right? And if you want to come to Toronto, you better have a chip on your shoulder because it's going to be hard to win in Toronto. It's not the easy path. You want the easy path? You go fucking play for the Lakers. No, the harder path is in Toronto. That's true. And the types that will say, I want that challenge. I want the harder challenge because it'll pay off better, like Fred VanVleet, like Kyle Lowry, like DeMar DeRozan. Those are the kind of guys we want around this team. So RJ is very, very aware of the disadvantages of being a Raptor, but he don't give a fuck because it's his hometown and he's carrying us and he's going to go right through it. That's right. We got another super chat. I appreciate it. I'm going to guess this is a Power once again. He's saying no one can guard Brandon and Scotty one-on-one. You have to send a double team, which creates spacing. Dork can't guard BI either. BI had a hyperextended knee injury 3 weeks before the playoff game. Usually BI averages 30 points against Dort. You're talking about Dort. I think you're spell correcting Dort to Dork. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But I get what you're saying. So I like this. Brandon's healthy. The sky's the limit. And, unlike Kawhi, and this is a big thing that everybody's going to be wondering about, is there going to be any load management at all throughout the season? Well, the signs are saying no, that Brandon spent too much time of his life wasted sitting around this past year that he ain't fucking trying to sit on the bench every other game in a load management. So this is awesome. He's very anxious to get out on the court and do stuff. I'm really happy that Scotty showed up last night because in some ways I was starting to see a trend where possibly he was going in the direction of his former Montverde guy, Ben Simmons. And God forbid Scotty turns into Ben Simmons, where he just decides not to shoot anymore and just is a really weird like stat stuffer, but he's really kind of a dead end in the game in a weird way. I know Scotty likes Ben Simmons, being from Montverde, both of them. And he's talked him up on his Twitch stream in the past. And I have no respect for Ben Simmons, obviously. But, we don't need you to trend like him. And he's a horrible role model for you, Scott. So it's really good you showed up and got 31 points and showed you can still shoot, unlike Ben Simmons. Because I was starting to get a little worried there, man. I was starting to get a little worried. Man, this is awesome. It sounds like Power is a big Brandon Ingram fan. and may have joined our channel partly because he's coming with Brandon. So salute to you, man. Once again, man, very generous, man. Very, very generous. I appreciate that you find value in my channel and what I'm doing here, man. I really do. That means a lot to me, man. That means a lot to me, man. Totally. All right, Power. Thank you again, man. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? I'm gonna pick it up here. Fiercely saying, at first I was thinking how bad it was for Porter Jr. going from Nuggets to Nets, huge downgrade, but it'll be his advantage as he'll clearly be the number one option. Yeah, that's the trade-off. That's a trade-off. Do you want to be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond or something? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? Well, you go to the Nets, you're the franchise player, you get everything optioned first, and he can step into that. His salary kind of demands that. But is he really a franchise player? Seriously, guys. Is he really a franchise player? Is this hollow stats? Is this just somebody's got to do it? Because that's what it seems like to me. That's what this shit is. Yeah. Brian's saying this with the current squad, opposing defenses aren't sure who to focus on. When they double one, we get four who can score. And this is the great thing. All of them are unselfish. There's not going to be any of this DeMar DeRozan. I'm trying to beat three guys that are guarding me at once and just get good that way. No, they understand and trust each other. And the talent is premium at all five positions. That the dump off passes and the out of the double are really good. Brandon was finding it way better in this game last night. There were a couple of times in the games in preseason where Brandon was trying to beat the double team on his own. But last night, when the double team came, he's getting it to another guy and they're getting a wide open shot. Another thing I really want to note right now is the special synergy between IQ and Yak. There's some really, really good synergy there. There was that one play where IQ thread the needle to Yak, and he had a nice little roll to the basket, and he aggressively went to the basket and laid it in. There's a really good connection between those two guys, and it's fantastic. And they built it right from the start when Emmanuel showed up, and it's just gotten more and more in depth and really, really solidified between Pirtle and Quickly. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You see the actions and the way they play off each other. It's really top notch. It really, really is. And it's a lot of fun to watch. I think that that's part of why Jakob is so happy right now, is because he's playing in a way that he's valued on both ends of the court more than ever. In the past, especially in San Antonio, he was very anchoring the defense. And there's no offense he's trying to do there. Hardly at all. There may have been a little bit of times where nobody was there to do anything, and Jakob kind of had to be more of a scorer. But for the most part, it wasn't in a way that was helpful to the team to win, obviously, because they were losing. But this is different. Jakob can be a big part of our offense in a winning team, and he's also extremely important on the defensive end. So that synergy between IQ and Jakob, don't sleep on it. It's amazing. It's so good, man. It's so, so good. That's right. Let's see. D-Ice X is saying Grady's hair reminds me of Woodstock when he drives and dunks. The Woodstock from Peanuts. It's getting into the holiday season. We're going to start seeing Peanuts cartoons on TV. It's a great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It's a Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown. It's the Christmas, Charlie Brown. Grady would have been a great extra on that Will Ferrell basketball movie. Yeah, semi-pro. Don't you think Grady should have been in that movie if he was? It was in his time. If that movie came out now, Will Ferrell, call up Grady Dick and get him on your movie, and he can put on some goofy ass wig and put a big huge mustache on and like be some 70s guy. That'd be hilarious. And you know what? You can even put his name in the credits, and it's funny. Grady Dick. It's so stupid, man. Why are you so childish, Lex? It's fun. Be a kid. It's fun. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying, yes, Shaq Lindsay. RJ was up there at the draft. Number 3 pick. That's right. We got a number 2, a number 3, and a number 4 right in a row. Number 2, Brandon Ingram. Number 2 pick in the year that we picked Siakam, y'all. We picked Siakam, and we flipped Siakam into the number 2 pick in his own draft. That's amazing. Everybody's like, the Siakam deal is messed up. Well, it led to Brandon, a man who was in the same draft as Siakam and was drafted number 2 as a lottery pick in the same draft as Siakam. I don't know, man. That's pretty good value flipping there, right there. What did we get Siakam at? Like what, 18 or 20 or something like that? It was pretty late. So yeah, that's pretty good value right there. You got number 2 and number 3 and a number 4. Number 4 is the 4 and number 3 is RJ. That's right. That's right. You love it. You love it. You love it. You love it. All right, let's see. Cool Cat saying our center situation strikes again. Yeah, it was a little bit of a problem at the end. I mean, he could have honestly put Sandro in there and it would have been different, but he wanted to run with this. And I like what he did. The defensive offensive substitution of Grady. They needed the basket, have the extra shooter out there with the 4 starters that are available, and Grady Dick as an extra shooter. And then when we got the shot from Brandon, take Grady out and put Oshai in, and he's a better defender for the last part of the game. That's really good coaching. That's really good coaching. And another thing I'm really been impressed with Darko, and this has been for the whole time he's been our coach, is that his rotation system and his philosophies of what he does, I see it. I can read patterns really well. And what they do, the coaching staff with Darko, is really, really good. Like their rotations are really smart, the way they do things. And I think that once again, one of the things they're going to try and do this year is always have a starter on the court. And there was a period where Brandon was the only starter on the court with the bench, but very quickly in the first quarter after that, RJ and Scott came right back into the game. So that's important. We want a high class talent on the court at all times. And because we have such a good starting 5, Darko should be able to do this. Darko should be able to do this, man. Yeah. Daddy Gates is here. The Stargate. Good morning, Stargate. Lex, you missed one of the most important factors about Brandon Ingram last night that, in my opinion, actually won us the game, his ability to draw double teams. Yeah. I think that's part of the reason why RJ's on an island all by himself and he can just take such wide open threes. Is Brandon's come here. He didn't have those shots last year. No, RJ's getting run at. RJ's getting people harassing him. In some ways, RJ's three-point shooting wasn't as good last year because he's just being much more guarded. Well, they're going to have to figure out who they're going to play off of, and RJ seems like one of the choices. They're going to dare him to shoot the 3. Make him pay, RJ. Make him pay. That's right. He'll hit that. That's right. It's definitely something that was benefiting Barrett and that wide open shots he was getting. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying, I noticed something last night that told me RJ is no longer going to be a liability on defense. Was that the dunk contest on one of the Brooklyn players, although he almost got dunked on last year, he wouldn't have contested it. Yeah, that block. I don't even know if it was a clean block, but the RJ was really smart. He went straight up with the Nets player, and he didn't foul him. If he had fouled him, Ed Malloy would have called it. He would have called it. But RJ went straight up with the guy, and he didn't allow him to score. And that was a fantastic thing because it was just RJ in the basket. Nobody else was around there. And he made a defensive stand in a way that we've never seen him do that before. I've never seen him do something like that so successfully on defense. I think you're exactly right, Shaq Lindsay. This is a new wrinkle. And in some ways, if one of the biggest flaws in RJ Barrett's game was his defense, we're not seeing that anymore. Nope. No, we're not. Carlos saying this, Mamu is very exciting to watch. He's a great spark off the bench. He's just a great personality. And I love his interview at halftime and what he was kind of saying. He's a keeper. If I'd like to see him be on the Raptors for a very long time going forward, because I feel like he's a really good complement to Yak. They're very different. And in some ways, he's an upgrade on Kelly Olynyk. There's a lot of similarities to Kelly Olynyk with Sandro Mamu with the threes and some of that stuff, but he's way better than Kelly because he's faster and he's is more mobile and he has a little bit more wide skill set. I mean, we know Kelly's a really good passer. We know Kelly can shoot threes, but Kelly can't block shots like Sandro. Kelly can't body up down low and play good foot speed around the post on defense like Kelly. Kelly could get matadored and people run by him. In some ways, Sandro is more capable of keeping up with people and staying with them and being up on them. So I'm excited about it. And he really does kind of, man, some of the stuff he was doing, like the drives to the basket, was really extra. And that's just special when that's the dude that's playing 5 for you and he can put the ball on the floor and all of a sudden he's driving around somebody and making a layup off the glass. That's really special. And that's why Jack was going crazy last night. Jack was like, oh, I really like this Mama Kevzavelli. He can't say his names, but I can't either. So Kaz is saying, good morning, Lex, Rabbit Free Group. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning. He's not on the road again. He's off the road again today. He's at home with the family. We love Trucker Kaz. I'm so happy to see you, man. Giannis Sky saying, Ibaka much better on defense. Yeah, Ibaka is a special player. We love Ibaka. But I'm just saying, the balance of it all, I mean, if you think about it, Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka are just a special tandem in the Raptors' history, obviously. Two players that played together on Spanish team. Two guys that were at the point in their career when they were on our team that they were very learned and at high level and near the ends of their careers, obviously, because it was. We've got younger guys. Like Jakob is 30 as of this week, but Sandro is a young guy. I'm just saying there's a little bit of catching the things that we get from Gasol and Ibaka between Pirtle and Mamu. Maybe the defense of Ibaka is more in Pirtle, and the offensive versatility of Gasol is in Mamu. Maybe that's the way you should look at it there. Maybe a little bit like that. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Okay, Sandro, Mamu's going to knock you out. That's right. I'm telling you, man, he's going to be a fan favorite. People already love him. That's been the case everywhere he's gone in the NBA. It's really crazy. I was watching the full season of Open Gym to get hype before the game. That big drop of 4 hours and 40 minutes. And at the end of the last episode of Open Gym last season, we played the Spurs, right? It was the last game of the season. And you see Sandro with a big, huge smile in the Spurs jersey, hugging our players after the game, or hugging and dapping everybody at the end of the season. And he even had a little moment with Darko. Actually, they showed him meeting with Darko at that moment. I was like, how? Wow, that's kind of a foretelling Open Gym that they showed our new acquisition in the summer at the end of their season, hugging Darko at the end of the season. Very, very cool. I like Sandro Mamu in a Raptors jersey. I really, really do. I really, really do. Naco the Nachos here. Good morning, Gerald. The end got too close for the comfort, but hot damn, Scotty. Yeah, Mamu's a good one. I was telling y'all, and that's why he's on my fantasy team. I was like, man, you can rank him Yahoo Fantasy at like 360, but he's not going to be that this year. He's going to have an increased role with the Raptors, and he's going to be like the 7th or 8th man for them, and he's going to get production on the regular. So yeah, Sandro Mamu, let's go. If you're doing a fantasy draft, go get him. You can see that he gets a lot of stats in different categories right there. That's right. Yeah, I don't like the Nets coming back and making it close. A tale of two halves. The Raptors really good in the first half. The second half and the third quarter, lackadaisical, let them get back in the game, not guarding the three-point shot correctly. And, well, they had to manage it at the end. And James is saying, well, I like a close game because it's more entertaining. I like a blowout because it's less stressful. But if it's a close game and we still win, hey, that's fun too. And in some ways, it was good to get a test of the close game at the end of the game with our starters out there and see how we close the game with the starters instead of people like Olivier Sarr and David Roddy and stuff like that. Because that was, we were successful in preseason with our end of the bench in late game situations against teams like the Wizards. But, it was nice to see the starters out there in a late game situation where it was close and get to see a Brandon Ingram clutch 3. So, yeah, it's a very promising thing. That's right. Stargate saying, give Yak a break. That mask would throw anyone's rhythm off. It's understandable. Yeah, I'm totally giving him a break. It's preseason, and this is what it's for. Get your rhythm, get organized for the season, and we'll get it figured out, and you're going to be fine. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, this is something with Yak that we've seen in the different times where he's been out for injury and he comes back. Most players have a bit of time adjusting to come back. And, he's kind of doing that right now. I agree with you. Fiercely saying no crashing out from Nick Claxton yesterday. That was refreshing. He's actually good, but at times his temper is, I understand why you keep saying this about Claxton because the incident last year and him tossing the ball in anger. But he's a longtime pro. He's smart. And it's preseason. You don't want to catch any fines or do anything weird shit in a preseason game. Like, why? People fighting and getting hurt in preseason, that's been really uncommon this year. Usually preseason just kind of like go through the motions. Nobody's really trying as hard, but that's not been the case this year. That's not been the case. Yeah, Claxton was a little quiet in the game last night. A little quiet. Let's see. Good luck trying to convert Raptors Nation into Jays Nation. It ain't happening. Well, a lot of Raptors Nation is already Jays Nation. And I mean, I don't see this as an issue, them playing the Jays game at the Raptors Arena last night. I think that in some ways it's a sign that, yeah, the Blue Jays are under the same company as the Raptors and the Maple Leafs now. They weren't until this summer, really. And now Rogers is going to start seeping in more baseball into the Air Canada Center / Scotiabank Arena. And that's the sign of this. In some ways, I don't care. This is good. This is helpful. But we'll see how much they do it and whether it makes sense every single time. Yeah, the changes with Rodgers are different and they're interesting so far. I'm really paying close attention. I am. Keith Pelly, I'm watching you. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Criscom's here. Good to see Greg Criscom. Come on, let's go. That's the Scotty I like to see. There you go. A lot of people are happy to see evidence that Scotty Barnes is still Scotty Barnes. They like that. They like that. That's good, man. Shaq Lindsay saying this: with all due respect, Matt and Jack made a mistake by putting Drake on, especially when Drake has no filter. Yeah, I mean, it's not a mistake because they had a period. They'd had episodes where they were doing this with them already before. It was kind of a tradition for like 10 years where Drake, if he's sitting by next to them, he may get on the mic for like the third quarter. But yeah, in some ways, I don't ever want to see Drake on the broadcast ever again. And well, if they're moved away from him, I guess that won't be likely. I hope that they change this though. I kind of feel like it's important for announcers to really feel the ambiance and be right on the ground zero of what's going on in the game. And I feel like this is a bad trend. This is a bad trend. I mean, this is definitely a money decision. Nobody was sitting in those seats at first and for the first half. So these were jokers that bought these seats and they were so casual they didn't show up until like the third or fourth period. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. You might as well let Aaliyah Edwards sit in those seats there. She's sitting right next to there in the badass purple Raptors top. I love seeing her at the game last night. She was on my fantasy team in WNBA this year. And just the pride and the joy for Canada and for the Raptors. I love seeing Edwards show up and be around being at the game last night and talking to Kayla Gray and doing what she was doing. Yeah, it was fun. She should have been sitting in Matt and Jack's seats. I don't know who those jabronis were that got those seats, but y'all showing up late and those seats being empty, don't be doing that. In some ways, it's like, do you want to show us that Matt and Jack aren't there? Is that why they didn't show up until then? Or did you guys fill the seats late? I don't know. It was weird. And what about the other teams' announcers? Are they going to feel weird because they have to go announce from some other weird place too? Because they haven't got their seats over there either on the other side. I don't know. This is a weird situation. It's change. And in some ways, I don't deal with change totally well sometimes until I get used to it. That's right. W Power. Yeah. Thank you, Power, once again. Power Right. Okay, cool. I like that. I like that name. Yeah, man. I appreciate anybody who's wanting to support me and what I'm doing here. It's very appreciative. All right. See, Isaac's here. All right. Isaac's holding it down for us in Ottawa, in the nation's capital of Canada. Good to see the benevolent one, Isaac Campbell. True. Next man up culture. A bench mob of dogs, late game scoring threes, and a starting five for the ages. Raptors are back, baby. That's right, Isaac. I love that comment. I'm going to give you a dunk, and I completely agree with you. I think that Raptors fans, we need to be looking for excellence this year, and these guys ain't playing around. They're not messing with their life. They want to go do something special. And tomorrow, I'm going to do an Eastern Conference preview of all 15 teams and my rankings and what I think is going to happen this year with those 15 teams. I'm going to rank them. Go over that tomorrow on a Sunday special report. So I hope you join me 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. I'm gonna give the 15 Eastern Conference teams. I don't do the Western Conference. I'm not going in depth on that side. I can tell you which teams over there seem like the best teams, but I'll do it with the Eastern Conference for that. Yeah, we'll go over that for sure. Always good to see Isaac. Salute, man. And I got you a dunk. G saying this: my stars are Scotty IQ with 10 assists and 5 and 9 threes at +9. Will take every single game. Honorable mention to RJ, or even tied with RJ due to his leveling up in defense is BI. Mamu also honorable mention. Yeah, the starters and Mamu. Really, really top notch last night. Stargate saying, I noticed Brandon looked a bit annoyed about something after Kayla's post-game interview. Somebody was trying to read it like he didn't want to be in Toronto. No. Listen, we've got to understand we're just learning Brandon's personality and the way he carries himself. He's very like stoned. I guess that's the right word. He's a very kind of like chill person. He's not very excitable. And maybe some Raptors fans are trying to read Brandon Ingram at the end of the game like, oh, he doesn't want to be here. Somebody actually wrote that in the comments. I think Brandon doesn't want to be here. No, he's just a really relaxed dude. And he's not excitable some ways. He's just kind of like, don't read him for not being enthusiastic. The enthusiasm's on the court and his actions in his play. No, when he talks, he's soft spoken and he's literally very chill. He's a very chill person. So any Raptors fan that thinks he's being nonchalant where he doesn't care, you're absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. And I don't know, maybe somebody said something to him, or he made a facial expression for a second or something, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Kayla Gray did piss him off for a second. I don't know. Either way, don't misread things. The things that matter to Brandon are here in Toronto, and he's very happy. And once again, he smokes the ganja, and in some ways, he's a low energy person to a degree in certain ways. So it's very interesting. G saying Scotty attacking the rim, hook shots, and growing mid range in his bread and butter. He limited his threes, and it was so much better. Yeah, the flow of the game, improvising in the moment, making outstanding offensive plays to finish. And yeah, really good, high quality shooting on volume. And we love it. That's what we want. It won't be like that every night, but we get these kind of nights every once in a while. It'll be fantastic. It'll be fantastic. Kareem Thomas is here. Good to see Kareem Thomas, the full butt dialer. How are you doing, sir? Holding it down in Mississauga for us on the West End. I was on record yesterday saying I don't care what it looks like, but I just want to say to feel and see Scotty's presence. That's what he did. Hence the reason why I picked him as a first pick in the fantasy draft. That's the Kareem is touting that he has Scotty Barnes on his fantasy team, and he's feeling pretty good about the prospects this year after seeing last night. I feel like you got to do this every night now, because this is a good pattern, Kareem. Say, I don't care what Scotty does. I just want to feel him in the game. Yeah, let's do this every night. How about that, Kareem? No more expectations for Scott, Raptors fans. On some nights, he may look like a Kevin Durant or a Kawhi Leonard. And some nights he may look like a Tim Duncan, a Ben Wallace, or Draymond Green. So let that man play to whatever the needs of the Raptors are that night. Brandon Ingram didn't have to go crazy and get almost 30 points last night. No, he only needed 13, but he did hit the clutch shot. RJ's going to do this on certain nights and this on certain nights. Emmanuel may not be as prevalent in one night, but he's way prevalent in another night. Be allowing for the flexibility and the fluidity of the Raptors lineup and their talent being able to fill the goals and the needs and the wants of Darko Rajakovic in each game and every moment, every second. That's the thing. We can't have preconceived notions about the outputs or the roles of our players to an extent. In some ways, they're going to morph. And in some nights, like I said, Brandon looked more like a stat stuffer than the main scorer last night, didn't he? And he was playing more on the defensive end in some ways also. And that's a good trade-off right there. Okay, UC's here. Good to see Raptor Freak UC back in the chat. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. It felt like a long summer without any games, so I'm so excited the season's about to start. Yes, this is a fantastic time. I've got to do off-season schedule for 3 days. We'll have the special report, Monday moment, and Tuesday trivia. But on Wednesday, we're previewing a regular season Raptors game against the Atlanta Hawks, and I'll be so happy to report on the refs for you guys at 9:30 on Wednesday morning and to get you set up for the first game of the season. I love seeing you, Yuzi. Always good to see you, my guy. Always good to see you, man. Kareem Thomas saying, where are all the people saying that this roster won't work because RJ is spacing or quickly this contract or overvalued, all this shit? Yeah. This is just noise. In fact, ESPN's got an article on their page this morning that is so shading us. And they only wrote bad copy about it. Some guy named Dean Oliver. Fuck you, man. 2 finger salute to you. You can go read that article. They've got the Raptors ranked 10th in the East. That's going to age horribly by the end of the year. I'm telling you right now, that's going to age horribly. G saying my third star comment made no sense. Laughed out loud. My third star was RJ, but Brandon could also be the third star due to his defense leveling up and being so clutch. So there are my co-third stars. Honorable mention to Mamu. Yeah, I had Scotty, RJ, Brandon, Emmanuel, and then Mamu. 5 stars. Honorable mention to Jakob. Honorable mention to Jakob. That's right. Neil is checking in with his Raptor Freak classic Vince Carter dunk logo. There you go. And Fiercely saying IG page for NBA posted Scotty's big night. Good. On that note, you just brought up IG. Let's go look at IG. Savannah Hamilton had her birthday party last night, and she was wearing a nice frilly gold dress with a mask. And she looked like some sort of cool superhero, man. Like, seriously, maybe this world needs more superheroes. And if Savannah Hamilton wore a mask and she just like lived her life as a superhero, I'd be like, yeah, this is the kind of superheroes we want more in our lives right here as an example and just a badass. Of course, we found out recently that Savannah got a new job with CBC and she'll be on their broadcast this year. So fantastic. Congratulations, Savannah, on getting on board with CBC Sports and your new gig with that network. That's fantastic. But yeah, the birthday celebration looks like it was a lot of fun. And Savannah, of course, had a big birthday this year, turning the same age as Jakob. That's right. They're about the same age. It's crazy. Her and Jakob are like almost exactly the same age, just a couple of days apart. She's older than Yak, just so you know. Matt Devlin and Kayla Gray and Jack are on the TikTok, doing the TikTok on the court. So at least they're allowed to be around the court pregame and do the interview or the talk, the preset down there. And then after the game, there they are doing it after the game. They said they do this after the game. Jack's really got bad dancing. And I don't know what Matt Devlin's doing. And there's Aaliyah Edwards and her Raptors top and doing her part in the TikTok with Kayla and them. That's awesome. I love seeing that. They're so happy. Also, Matt Devlin's got his son Jack on blast on his Instagram right now. Jack was bombing half-court shots once again with the whole crowd going crazy for him. Jack Devlin is a legend. He is for sure a legend. We love Jack Devlin. We love the father-son love between Matt and Jack Devlin. And Jack Devlin, wow, keep bombing, man, and keep living your life, bro. You are an amazing, amazing example for everybody in this world to learn about life and what matters. That's right. Matt Devlin, Jack Devlin is a beautiful thing. That's right. Kelly Olynyk is Zag's got dudes. He's all about the Gonzaga, him and Chet Holmgren and all their bullshit. And who's his new teammate, guys. Everybody watch ahead when Steph Castle's coming into the lane. That's right. I'm at the GOAT. I still want to trade for Steph Castle. You need to accept my trade. I want Steph Castle on my team. Slim Ducks got Boston stuff. And last night, the Celtics, this is the thing. I'm going to have a little bit of an insight on what the Celtics are doing more because I'm still following our champion, Chris Boucher. And, well, he's got Jaylen Brown kickboxing or something, kicking some shit. That's crazy. This is training. We know Jaylen Brown's got a pretty intensive training thing. But I think this is from that Starting Five show, which is very interesting. Of course, they kind of went over what happens. Jaylen Brown, his part in the Starting Five series on Netflix is basically last year getting hurt and this Celtics having a disappointing season and losing to the Knicks in the playoffs. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, boo-hoo. Of course, SGA's story on Starting Five was a lot more fun and successful. That's right. Chris has also posted this. Chris Boucher saying, bro, spitting. In order to be number one, you got to be odd. Remember that, twin. I like that. That's pretty cool. So remember to be number one, you got to be odd. That's so good, man. That's so good. They got some stuff from Celtics practice. And here we see Ron Harper Jr. got converted to a two-way with the Celtics just a couple days ago. So he's going to be on with them this season. So he made the team. So congratulations to former Raptor Ron Harper Jr. being on that team. There's Chris yelling in his teammates' ear. And also they had the gala last night. Chris Boucher and the Celtics doing their tip-off gala is what they were doing. Chris was all dressed up and all the Celtics were there. There's a picture of Chris with Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Nemes Keta at the startup gala for the Celtics. They do their little thing. I'm sure the Raptors will do one of those maybe tonight or in the next couple of days. They'll be doing a gala or gala, or however you want to fucking say it, getting together and dressing up and getting the season ready. Eric Smith is saying, let's go Jays. And he's got Kyle Lowry, the GROAT, wearing a Jays toque from his Raptors days. So, yeah. Or wait, is this recent? Was Kyle wearing the toque like this week? Oh, it's an old pick. Okay, Eric's put in there it's an old pick. I was about to say, is Kyle Lowry like that? Our GROAT is throwing his support for the Blue Jays publicly. Well, he is wearing the Jays toque back then. So, I don't know. Either way, Kyle, we love you, man. And yeah, the halftime show for the Raptors game last night was the Blue Jays game against the Mariners. Too bad they were losing and they lost. That's too bad, man. Let's see what else. We got Colin Murray Boyles putting on blast VJ Edgecombe for getting a 26.6 rebound, 5 steals game for the Sixers. And he's also putting on blast some guy from East Georgia. Who is that? I don't know who that guy is. Either way, he's just a friend of Colin Murray Boyles. Jonathan Mobo's words of wisdom for today. Imagine you get to heaven and someone tells you, I got here because you weren't afraid to tell me about Jesus. That's amazing. That's a powerful thing, man. That's a powerful thing. In some ways, I would tell that to my good friend Trevor J and Randolph Phillips. Man, if I'm going to heaven, partly it's because of you guys and your guidance with me. I'm telling you right now. In some ways, I never really thought about where I was going because I don't totally believe in heaven and hell. I believe that heaven and hell happens on earth, and you can get that here while you're here. Is heaven here or hell here? And In some ways, I don't know. I'm still kind of a scientist that believes we just die and our spiritual energy just goes into the world. I believe that's true. Spiritual energy goes places, but I don't know if it actually goes anywhere like another realm. So I don't necessarily believe in heaven and hell. I don't know. Is that a weird thing? Anyway, either way, let's see. Jonathan Mobile putting on blast the serious players only stuff right there. There's RJ putting on clips of him dunking it from last night. So many good dunks. RJ with the left hand, RJ with the right hand, full stride, coming from this angle, coming to that angle. Brandon Ingram lobbing it to him. He's catching it in the air and throwing it down. All that stuff is fun. I love it. It's so good. Let's see. We got Grady Dick on the Instagram, and he's shooting up shots before the game. And then also he was coming in with the Blue Jays shirt on, coming in the game, showing his support for Toronto Blue Jays. I love that. Raptors 95, the mascot, watching the Blue Jays game and supporting the Blue Jays at the Scotiabank Arena. Yeah, and then he's also getting into season mode for himself because he's got to do that. And there he is eating the security guard's head as a giant inflatable raptor. That's right. Never let them know your next move. So weird. All right, let's see. Who else do we got? Lindsey Dunn at the ALCS in Seattle, Washington. There's a coach's open house. Some footage from that. It looks like the group was about the regular size for coach's open house, maybe a little smaller than the last couple years. And it looks like it was a good event. The press there asking questions to Darko, and Darko and the coaches addressing the coaches at the coaches open house. Great event yesterday, it looks like. Good stuff. All right, let's see. What else do we got? I think that's about it. Did they actually give anything to anybody for Brandon Ingram night last night, or they just call it Brandon Ingram night and said welcome to him? And they also put up stats for him before the game on the big screen, all kinds of stats. Brandon Ingram is the active third most points in the NBA out of all the Duke players in the league right now. That he is third behind Kyrie and Jason Tatum as far as most points from a Duke player. They had stats like that going on there. They had information about him from North Carolina and stuff like that. Very, very interesting stuff. That's right. Chris comes saying, what's up with this Reese kid? Well, Julian Reese is from Maryland. He played at Maryland all 4 years. He's a power forward. He's got some interesting stuff near the basket as far as offense, but he's really better defensive player in some ways. He's a good rebounder, and he does block some shots. Now, I was shocked to see him dressed and at the game last night, and I thought maybe Darko was going to get a look at him and try him out, but he didn't. The game was too close, and the garbage time did not come because the Nets made too many threes in the second half. But was a chance that we could have seen Juju Reese in that game last night, but it didn't happen. And they did waive him afterwards. In some ways, I thought that was a brilliant move by Bobby Webster. If he's going to go ahead and cut 5 guys and have 2 open roster spots all of a sudden on Friday, why not fill one with a guy real quick and get him through the process to Exhibit 10? We're calling it Exhibit 0 now, and get him to the 905 with rights, but also have him show up to the big stage and have him sit on the bench with the Raptors and let him be involved with the Raptors like that in the game last night. Now, if he'd gotten to appear, that would have been awesome. But once again, I know that the Raptors and the Tempo are not actually connected anymore, but Bobby Webster is good friends with Teresa Resch. And I don't know. Would it be helpful to get the Reese family to be having an affinity for the city of Toronto? Would it be helpful? Considering that Angel Reese was a little bit at odds with her team in Chicago this past season. Would it be great? Because I seen Angel Reese posted that her brother was on the Raptors all of a sudden, and he's like, go get it. She's so happy, encouraging him. It doesn't hurt to curry favor and possibilities since